So here's how they stole my product idea, and I'm making this video and telling you my story because I don't want this to happen to you. So for me to even talk about the product, let's go back to the beginning. So the year was 2007. I made a YouTube channel teaching people how to cut hair. You see, in my past, I was a barber for over 20 years. I knew how to cut hair, so I figured, why not throw my skills on YouTube and teach people how to cut hair, and in return, I'll sell them an instructional DVD telling them exactly what to do. You see, back then you were able to sell information on a DVD or a PDF. This is back in those days in 2007, 2008, when people would sell you information like a workout plan on a PDF and sell it to you for 20 bucks. Those were the days when people would really sell information. I mean, nowadays people still sell courses, but in reality, you can go online, you can kind of salvage a bunch of videos together and kind of figure out exactly what you need to do. You can go to Google, you can do so much more research now. Back then, people would hold information from you. I'm not gonna say I was one of those gatekeepers, but people would try to make money off of their information. It was the make money off of information era. Now it's basically the era where you can get all information for free. So you see, back then it was hard to just go to somewhere like Alibaba.com and go buy a product and sell it. You didn't really know how to do it unless you bought a course from someone that knew how to import, export, figure out how you're gonna get the shipping in from overseas and how you're gonna get these things in. It was a little harder back then, which was, you know, not a bad thing. That was just the time that we lived in. So back then, I created an instructional DVD and, you know, I started basically selling DVDs and I was doing really, really good. But then I said to myself, how am I gonna get these same people that are buying my instructional DVDs to come back and buy more things? You see, when you buy a DVD, you only buy it once, okay? So I had to make a part 1, I made a part 2, I made a part 3, I wrote a book. But then again, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, wow, so what do I do after this? You know, after what, I'm gonna keep running out of DVDs. And then the DVD era was starting to go away. That means it was almost over. Like, this is when people started streaming. You know, streaming was getting big. Blockbusters were shutting down. I mean, I had to figure out something fast. Now again, I was a barber for over 20 years. I said, why don't I create my own shaving product, which today is Easy Blade Shaving Products. Over time, you know, we've been in business since 2010. So it's been almost, to this date, almost 13 years now in business, which is a long run. Now back then when I started, there was no information and I was just basically making a product. I didn't know I was gonna have a brand. So I wanna say I was basically just hustling, right? Just trying to get a product, sell it to make money, because that was the time. We didn't know that the regular person would become an influencer, will become a business, will become an online business owner. You know, coming up in those days, you just didn't know that. You didn't really know. You were just trying to make money. You didn't know it was gonna be a big company. You didn't know you were eventually gonna build to a big company. It was almost like nowadays you can see that because you see all of the influencers building these clothing brands, building these product lines, selling motorcycle parts, whatever it is. They're becoming big just being them, right? But back then you didn't know that. You were just trying to make some money, and it's like I was doing, you know, with the DVDs basically. You know, people were selling information. They didn't know how far this internet thing was gonna go. So what I did was I was like, I gotta come up with a shaving product. I love shaving. I'm really good at shaving. I wanna come up with something that's different from the regular shave product. So my company, Easy Blade, which was just me at that time, created the first barber shave gel. There was always shave gels on the market like Gillette that makes a foaming shave gel. You know, you put it on the face and it's foaming, it foams right up. Well, my company, me at the time only, was the person who created the first shave gel. Now, the shave gel was non-foam, it was clear, and the reason why I thought of this product, because when you're lining up a beard and you're lining up a mustache, you put the shave gel on there, it keeps the skin moisturized, it keeps it lubed, and at the same time, you can see the line on the person. So if we're lining up a beard or we're lining up a mustache or a goatee under the neck, if you put shaving cream on there, you can't see it. So I thought of something that was clear besides shave oil, right? Because that was too thick at the time. A lot of barbers were using like water and soap and stuff like that so they can see the line and shape it up. So I thought of something that was totally different. I started putting a lot of products together myself, mixing them in a bucket, trying to figure out, you know, how I can get this made, trying to find manufacturers, trying to find, you know, connections for people to make the product for me here in the United States where I'm located. It wasn't as easy as going to like Alibaba.com and just like emailing somebody at 9 o'clock at night and trying to figure out what, you know, what they can do for me and labeling the product. Just to get labels for that product, they really charged me a bunch of money. I mean, I paid $1,000 for like, you paid $1 a label, or like, you know, 75 cents a label just to label the product. I mean, nowadays, you know, we get the labels for pennies, like a penny probably. So I went ahead and I figured it all out. I started bottling it up myself and figuring out how I can sell this stuff. I already had a following. I already had a big following. I already had people that supported me. They bought my DVDs. Next thing I had to do was basically release a product. So I released the product. It was working. It was selling. game, and my videos were going viral using the product. I was making money off the product, and what happens? A big brand came and basically took the same idea and created their own shave gel. They took that shave gel and they were able to blow it up. Now at the time, I didn't know what an influencer was because I was an influencer. Back then, when you hear influencer, you think about rappers and like rock stars and like Pepsi when they sponsored Michael Jackson. You start thinking about stuff like that, right? Because we didn't know what an average influencer was, and that's why a lot of influencers were getting taken advantage of back then, because people would just send an influencer a product and they would do a free video for them because they got products, and they were so amazed, like, oh, you're gonna give me free products? I'll put it on my video. And they were taking advantage of these influencers. Now influencers like, you want to post? Yeah, you give me $1,500. I'll post this on my page, because now influencers know their value. But back then, big brand was able to take advantage of the influencers that didn't even know they were influencers, didn't even know their power, you know? And I was an influencer myself, so I didn't think of telling another influencer to promote my product. I didn't know until big company came along, took it, and basically did what they do with it, basically. And they already knew the game. They were a big brand, so they already know about influencers. And they took these micro influencers, basically gave them the product for free, and they basically blew up their brand. And that's how they were able to successfully sell the product. Now, did that put me out of business? No. The thing we have over most of these shaving product companies is that we manufacture our own products. Now I have a 3,500 square foot warehouse where we manufacture all of our products. We label them, we mix them in big mixing tanks and bottle them up. Okay, so what separates us is all of our products are American made, and people support the brand because we are a strong barber and brand, and people would rather quality over quantity. And because I was a barber for so many years, I understand what quality is. So people pretty much know us. We built a reputation over the last 13 years where people know exactly who we are and what we stand for. I was able to build a brand because I didn't give up, and I didn't feel like just because they took my idea, I wasn't gonna survive. Now this company blew up really fast, and guess what? They died really fast as well. Me, I took the slow run because I didn't know. I was learning over time. It was the hard way to learn, and eventually my company blew up as well. Now here's the thing, and this is why I'm making this video and telling you this story. If you're gonna create a product, the first thing you have to do is be quiet. Don't tell anybody anything. Now, just like that big brand, you wanna make sure that you roll out your product really hard. Make sure that you have your influencers lined up. Make sure that you have all of your marketing dollars lined up. Make sure that you have your product exactly where you want it to be. Make sure your product looks how you want it to look before you put it out. So this is my hard lesson that I wanna give to you. And nowadays you have so much information, such like these videos right here. You have all the information in the world. Don't just release something and play around with it. If you have a great idea, don't just release it and give it to the world and you don't have any money or anything like that. If it's a great idea, try to get some investing. This is why a lot of people get investments. If you don't have people that, make sure that if you get an investment, make sure that you have them sign a waiver and saying that they're not going to take your idea or use your idea. Try to raise as much money as you can. This way you can roll out the product as soon as possible. Make sure you get a patent. Make sure you get your name copyrighted. Now, as for patenting a shave gel, we did patent our product, but the thing is, anybody, when it comes down to products like that, like cosmetics, you can change any ingredient in it and it will be different. Just like regular ideas. If you come out with your idea and you show somebody, let's say you got a motorcycle helmet and you put a light on the back of it. So if somebody puts 2 lights on the back of it, now it's just a different motorcycle helmet. All right. So you want to make sure that you're really concentrating on what you're doing, and get a notebook, write things down, make sure that you really plan, because nowadays there are a lot more vultures out there that will take your idea. And there's no hard feelings with me. It was a lesson learned. At that time, I wasn't a big dog. I didn't have the finances for it, and we didn't know. We were kind of ignorant to releasing products. There are a lot of people who got caught up in that 2007, 2008 era, just putting things on YouTube, not knowing exactly where it's gonna go. And unfortunately, I was one of those guys, but fortunately, I was one of those guys because I learned how to become a businessman, and I learned so much the hard way. But the cool part now, like I said, don't learn the hard way. All the information is there for you guys to do it right. So go ahead, get your product together, write your ideas down, but make sure you have the finances to do it. If you don't, get investors. Thank you for watching My Entrepreneur Life. If you like this video, leave a comment below. It really helps the videos, and videos like this are gonna help a lot of people in the near future. I'll be making a bunch of stuff like this, so make sure that you subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon.